I've come to the realization that I can't stay here because I can't afford to.
No one can buy a house anymore. So now we're forced to rent. But then the rent got expensive.
Welcome to the land of the free 2025. Do we have free healthcare? No. Free accommodation for the elderly? Absolutely not.
Is renting for $2,900 a month.
I'm about to blow your mind. The side of Massachusetts real estate that you just don't even know about. That if you knew about, you'd vomit. You'd literally vomit at the money being thrown around. I work for the gas company, all right, which means that a lot of these houses that people are buying and tearing down and building McMansions on, I see before they tear down because I have to go and cut the gas off. Because if I didn't, they tore it down, the house would go kaboom. That being said, though, I pull up to these houses and I'm like, damn, like I would buy this house. And I always like try to figure out like, oh, like what was the Zillow price? Like what did it get sold for? And it's like 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, sometimes like 1.5, 1.6 million dollars. Tear the fucking house down. And then on top of that, I come back because I put in the new service once they get the new house put up, and it's like a freaking Taj Mahal castle, right? And I ask usually the builders, hey man, like how much you guys selling this thing for? And he's like, oh, like, you know, the house itself costs like $2 million. So that means that they tore it down for 1.5. They put another $2 million into it, which means it's $3.5 million fully invested. That's their nut. Are we playing with like Monopoly money now? And I just like, no one told me.
I am sitting here showing this property and I am just in disbelief. I got here a little early, but I know houses so well that I already know that my client is going to be disappointed when we walk in. And it's super crazy to me that we have reached a point in the economy where this townhouse in Upper Marlboro, Maryland is renting for $2,900 a month. I'm going to show y'all these cases every time I get it, because I want you to understand that despite what's happening in the market, you need to do everything in your power to become a homeowner. Paying $2,900 a month in rent is asinine for a house that has major issues. I could tell. I ain't even got to be a home inspector. And guess what? The little patch of land that you see out here, this little greenery right here, it's your responsibility to cut that grass. Whatever is available in the back, if there is a backyard, we'll see it when we go inside. You got to keep that up as well. You got to pay for lighting, electricity, water, gas, okay? You got to pay for all of that. And then you're paying them $2,900 a month. Renting does not make sense in the DMV, all right? Especially not renting other people's houses. Now, I understand that in certain situations, you have to do what you have to do. But hear me when I tell you that you must put all of your resources together to become a homeowner. It is not that difficult. You will not be house poor if you learn your numbers before you go into the buying process. This is ridiculous at this point. I can't even believe it. I can't even keep a straight face. And trust me, my clients that know me know good and well that I have these conversations with them. So don't think that I'm just posting these videos on the internet. No, I tell my clients, any rental clients that I have are renting by choice or renting because they have to, but it's not a long-term goal. All right, y'all. Bye.
I've got some really bad news about America's home buying affordability crisis. Donald Trump just lied and duped the American people once again. He finally said he's going to address the crisis, people not being able to afford homes, by banning financial institutions, large ones like BlackRock, from buying up any more inventory. What he's not telling Americans is that financial institutions like BlackRock only own 0.5% of the homes in America. That's number one. Number two, what he's not telling you is that when he made that post, which is just words, it caused BlackRock's stocks to plummet by at least 5 points, as well as other financial institutions. So watch. I promise you, they're all in there. The billionaire Trump crony class buying up BlackRock stocks. It's going to shoot back up, in and out. They're going to make a windfall over a post that he's not going to follow through on, because BlackRock and other institutions were big donors to him and other Republicans. That's number one. Number two, he's not sharing that the data is out for 2025. By year end, 77% of Americans said they could not afford to buy a new home. Nearly half of Americans could not afford to buy a home valued at $250,000 after Trump was in office a full year. Gen Zs hurt the worst. 87% cannot afford to buy a home after 1 year of Trump being in office, followed by 62% of millennials. He's not talking about the explosive cost of living that went up under him, the job losses, the companies that went bankrupt under his administration, the college students who are graduating without being able to get any jobs. Heck, even the trades. Get into the trades. He cut all the funding to programs that funded communities who were building roads and infrastructure and you name it, that required the trades. He's not addressing shit. All he did was manipulate the stock market, and Americans will still not be able to afford homes under Donald Trump. That's the gist of it.
You're right, the house is not worth $1.2 million. I always get comments like this about houses in LA being too expensive. And it's true, usually the house is worth like $300,000 or $400,000, but the land is worth over $1 million. I know this is so hard to wrap your mind around, especially if you live somewhere like Texas where you can get a huge house for like $700,000. But here in LA, we see plots of land with nothing on it sell for at least $1.5 million. In West LA. The fact of the matter is, whether you want to live here or not, there are millions of people who want to live here and they have the money to do so. There's a lot of generational wealth in LA too, a lot of people with good jobs, and that is why it is so expensive, because there's nowhere left to build in LA. All the land has already been built on. So if you want something more affordable, you can go kind of deep into the valley, you can go to the Inland Empire. If you go an hour outside of LA, it is like half the cost. So if you don't really need to be in the city, something to consider.
So I was just out on a walk right now, and check out these homes next to this path that I'm on. I was looking these homes up on Zillow, and you're looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of $615, $625, $650 in some cases for these really tiny houses. I mean, they're not very big. You can see the properties they're sitting on are tiny, and yet people want $650,000 for these homes at what, 6.25% interest rates? Like, no wonder nobody can afford anything.
According to a new report, the U.S. housing market has reached its most unaffordable level in history, and I personally am losing hope that we are ever going to correct this, because when I tell you Americans cannot even do their due diligence to understand the root causes of what's causing it. If one more person looks me in the face or gets in my comments and says this is because BlackRock is buying up all the houses, I'm going to lose it. They literally have the entire internet at their disposal. They have fingertips, I assume, because they're leaving comments elsewhere, and yet they don't combine those two things to go look up the basic facts before they weigh in. First and foremost, there seems to be immense confusion amongst the people between BlackRock, which is an asset manager, and Blackstone, which is a private equity firm. After 2008's financial crisis, Blackstone did dip its toe into the water and bought up a significant number of foreclosed homes. But even then, that ownership represented less than 1% of the total U.S. single-family home marketplace. BlackRock is actually not in the business of purchasing homes directly at all. Now, it does invest in some companies that own residential properties. For example, they have a stake in American Homes for Rent, which is a large single-family rental company, but this is indirect exposure. That's a standard practice for asset managers. And it's not the same as going and buying up houses. And just to put this to bed once and for all, according to a 2025 analysis by the American Enterprise Institute, institutional investors own just 1% of the total U.S. single-family housing stock as of June 2025. So give it a rest and let's focus on the actual causes so hopefully we can come together to fix them. The actual real reason that housing is so expensive is because we cannot build it, because we have essentially put a chokehold on the supply chain for new houses. This has mostly been done at the state and local level. Your state lawmakers, your city council members, they are the ones doing this to you. And they're doing this in a number of ways. First and foremost, you just simply have the inspection and review process that has become lengthier and lengthier. And all of those delays mean that the builders are incurring a lot more cost, a lot more time investments in order to produce houses. That makes it more expensive for them. Those costs get passed on to you. It also means that they tend to focus on building more expensive homes because they can make more of a profit doing that versus entry-level homes. Nobody's going out and doing construction projects for funsies. We've also done things like implement aggressive zoning, have a lot of historical overlays, basically create all kinds of rules and regulations that dictate what kind of property can be built where. That also makes it a lot harder to build and a lot more expensive, particularly in cities where you have a dense situation. If you have a whole city block, for example, that people have randomly decided is historic and must be preserved, well, then that means it's either one, really expensive to come in and renovate it, or two, you are wasting space. They aren't coming in and knocking down inefficient properties and building ones that could have a lot more units per lot, which would, of course, bring down the price.
So you have Chicago, the city, and Illinois, the state, willing to go to war with the federal government over undocumented immigrants. This whole time, Black Americans are losing their communities in Chicago because of a spike, a property tax increase by 133% that's only impacting Black communities. And they've seen this coming the whole time. So you're willing to go to war with Trump, but you're a head state. You're a head figure of these local governments, and you're not willing to put anything in place to protect your Black American residents, right? What a joke, right? You have West Garfield Park property tax increased by 133%, and then you have Inglewood and North Lawndale. Look at this, which the local governments knew that this was coming, right? And all this tax money, they're going to invest it back into Chicago public schools, which 30% of the students are immigrants, ESL programs, which is going to benefit them. And then some of this money even goes to asylum applications, CPS status, to protect immigrants legally. But where's the protection at for the Black American residents, right? That's about to lose their generational wealth. We all know home ownership is the first step in establishing generational wealth, and these communities are about to just be destabilized, right? And this is a local government, right? These are head figures of local government. Brandon Kaida and JB Prick, and they're not doing anything to protect these Black American citizens, but willing to go to war with the federal government.
For $799,000, you can get this house in College Point. Step inside to this single-family home located at 12011 28th Avenue. This well-maintained detached home features 2 bedrooms and 1 bath, offering a comfortable layout and a bright, inviting atmosphere throughout. Enjoy a spacious private backyard ready for your own personal touch. Located in a friendly, well-established neighborhood with convenient shopping and dining nearby and scenic waterfront parks just minutes away. Looking to move to College Point? Message me to schedule your showing and follow for more property tours.
$800,000 for a 2-bedroom, 1 bathroom, no carport, no garage, no parking. Times like these, I realize this is just not in my budget. Because I even looked around the area and most homes are selling for exactly that, around the 600, 800 mark. But correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just not that wealthy. I can't think about paying $800K for a 2-bedroom, 1 bathroom. It doesn't, maybe it wasn't listed, but it doesn't have a half a bathroom also. I even went and looked this up. I looked it up in Zillow. The home sold in 1995 for $115,000, and now in 2025 the house is up almost 600% and is going for $800,000. The interesting part is me and you are looking at this like, no way, but I promise you somebody is going to buy that house.
We all know the cost of housing is too high. But in Boston, it's not just rent and mortgage payments. Next year, because of state law, corporations are set to pay their lowest share of property taxes in the last 43 years. That means residential property owners are set to pay their highest share, an increase of $780 for the average single-family homeowner.
Did you guys see this clip? Have you seen this clip before? This is the most disingenuous thing I've seen in a long time. I think what she really meant to say is that under her watch, Boston's commercial real estate values have plummeted so badly that their tax basis is now lower than it was 43 years ago. That's the problem. That is the problem. That's why they're going to be paying lower taxes. They're paying lower taxes because Michelle effectively tanked the commercial real estate here, along with Mara Healy. She's to blame too. So no, this is not because corporations suddenly discovered some kind of like tax alchemy hack here. It's because half of the office buildings in Boston now qualify as haunted houses because you drove them out of the city, along with everybody else, along with all the other cronies that are in the legislature. Just like the Small Business Association completely removed themselves from Boston. And now we're right back at square one. We're right back where we were almost a year ago today. And obviously, clearly, no lessons have been learned.
I love my house. I'm going to start off by saying that. I love this house. When I was home shopping back in 2021, I chose this house on purpose. The only way I can describe it to people was that it's a house full of love, and you could feel it when you walked in the door. As soon as I walked in the front door of this house, I knew this was my house. I knew it. It sounds completely insane, but maybe you understand that when I walked in, I knew it was mine. And I do love this house. I love everything about this house. But I've come to the realization that I can't stay here because I can't afford to. And it's not that I can't afford the house payment. It's because there's so much wrong. I got a home inspection that wasn't worth the paper it was written on. And if you look back in my TikToks, I've done videos about the multiple things wrong at this house before. It has just been one thing after another, and the list of things that I have to fix is tens of thousands of dollars long. And me as a single person with one income, I can't afford to do all of this on my own. And it makes me really sad because when I bought this house, this was supposed to be my forever home. This was supposed to be my, I'm going to be here until I die or go to the nursing home. And I can't afford to stay here. I don't even know what to advise people. Like, people ask me, what do you recommend for people buying their first house? I have no idea, because I also have friends who bought brand new homes that have issues. The one thing I would say is to just be financially and mentally prepared for the fact that owning a home can completely financially ruin you. And that's where I'm at today. This house has quite literally bankrupted me. And I'm devastated because I love this house. But unless I win the lotto or marry a rich husband, there's no way I can possibly fix all the things wrong here. So anyway, that's all I got. Happy holidays.
Did you guys hear about this? Trump just announced that he's banning Wall Street from buying single-family homes. And if this actually happens, it could be the biggest shift in the housing market that we've seen in decades. Here's what you need to know, how it affects you, and whether it's actually realistic. And if you don't know me, my name is Aaron Jensen, and I make mortgages simple. So here's what went down yesterday. Trump posted on True Social that he's taking immediate action to ban large institutional investors like Blackstone from buying single-family homes. His exact quote was, "People live in homes, not corporations." He's asking Congress to make a law and said he'll announce more housing proposals in 2 weeks. The market reacted immediately. American homes for rent dropped 7%. Blackstone fell 4%, and the entire housing index experienced its worst day since November. Now, here's the backstory. Since the 2008 financial crisis, Wall Street firms have been scooping up thousands of foreclosed homes, turning them into massive rental portfolios. Invitation Homes is the largest single-family renter in the country. Blackstone alone owns over 230,000 apartment units. These companies have been blamed for reducing housing supply, driving up home prices, and pushing rent higher. When you're competing with a private equity firm that's paying cash and closing in a week, you lose every single time. Here's the unique perspective nobody's really breaking down here, though. This isn't just about making homes cheaper. It's about who gets to build wealth in America. When Wall Street buys homes, they're not just taking inventory off the market, they're blocking everyday people from the primary way Americans have historically built generational wealth, through home ownership and equity. You can't build equity if you're always renting from Blackstone. Trump's framing this as restoring the American dream, and whether you agree with the politics or not, there's real frustration out there about being locked out by corporations with unlimited capital. The reality check is that Trump didn't say how he'd actually do this. There's no legal authority mentioned, and he needs Congress to pass a law. But the fact that the announcement alone tanked these companies' stock prices shows Wall Street is taking this seriously. If it goes through, it could free up inventory, cool prices, and that's a big if, so stay tuned. We're licensed in 49 states, so reach out if you've got questions about what this means for you.
See this comment right here? We need to talk about why women with one kid has to be limited to space in an apartment because they expect us to share a room with our teen kids in order to have a living room like we're not supposed to celebrate. So this person, Lisa, is clearly upset, and I would be too. And a lot of people of New York City should be upset that it's 2 heartbeats per room, because if you are a mom living with a son who is 17, 16, doesn't matter, they need to have their own space. Then they wonder why everybody's fucking crazy. They expect you not to have that living room now, which is a common space, which is your living room is supposed to be serenity of your home, meaning that you come in the living room, it's a common area where you come down, you sit on a couch, you have a conversation, you watch a show with your family, and you talk about your day. They're taking that away from you. They're saying because you are poor and you are on a voucher and the city is supporting you, we're not going to let you have that space. So it's up to you. If you do not share a room with your kid, then you're going to have to take the living room, because yes, they consider a living room as a room. I understand how everybody feels about it. I think it's wrong. 2 people 2 heartbeats per room, I think is insane. They are pushing to change that though. I did a video about that a couple weeks prior, that they are looking to change that because it's just not fair. It is not fair. Okay. If I was a single mother and I had a 17-year-old, my son is not going to, I got to live in his room while he's gaming. And I can't give him his privacy if he wants to talk on the phone or if he wants to share something without me hearing it. We got to go in a bathroom and hide and have personal conversations. Like, I understand. And I hope that you guys can all show up to rental ripoff and talk about these things, right? Even though intentionally that's not what it's for, but it does need to be changed. The game needs to be changed and reevaluated on, a certain age, right? I think up to like 12, you should not be able to share a room with your children. If you have siblings, brothers and sisters, and also that needs to be looked at as well. So I do understand you. I'm here with you. I'm walking with you. And I completely understand that. But then you have the other side who's going to say, well, you're on a voucher and this is just what it is. And that is very ignorant for anybody to say that. Just because you don't have money to pay these outrageous rents, okay, a 2-bedroom is like over $3,500. That is insane. Nobody should have to live like that. Your living room, again, is the peace and the serenity and the core of the apartment to come home and have open conversations and just enjoy after working 2-3 jobs, not to come home in your living room and see a bed and not having that space to have those conversations. So hopefully this can get changed and relooked at.
No one can buy a house anymore. So now we're forced to rent. But then the rent got expensive. So now we have to buy an RV. And now it's illegal to live in the RV. So we try to live in our car. It's legal to live in the car too. So we become homeless? We can still live on the street. But you know that's fucking illegal.
Welcome to the land of the free 2025. Do we have free healthcare? No. Free accommodation for the elderly? Absolutely not. Do we have free housing for the homeless? Absolutely not. Do we have free education? No. Do we have free food? No. So wait, what's free? Oh, you're free to live the way life you want, but everything else is extremely expensive. Sorry. I don't know what makes me cry worse, our economy or this onion. The American people are being priced out of existence. I'm sorry, but there are not enough people talking about this. There are people who cannot pay their bills. There are families having to choose to feed their children over themselves because they can't afford to do both. And then there are other people trying to decide between paying for groceries or paying for a roof over their head. Where does the change happen? Because as a mom of 3 kids, family of 5, like, we're paying so much to just like live. Gas to get anywhere, to and from work, school, groceries are astronomical. A mortgage and interest rates are out of the roof. Check in the comments. How are you doing? How are families doing? How are like single people doing? Is there a difference between like families how we're doing or like single people how we're doing? Frankly, I feel like everyone's struggling.